This week we run through games to watch in the NBA, the NFL Divisional Round with the old men in the NFC, and America's team, the Browns, in the AFC. And Line Sniper's PGA expert, James Mazzola, tells us everything you need to know about the PGA Sony Open. All that and more right now on In The Crosshairs.
Hey, yo, everybody, and welcome to In The Crosshairs, presented by Line Sniper. It's your guy, Joey Knish, at Joey Knish22 on Twitter, and we're here for another little midweek episode of In The Crosshairs. We got NBA, we got NFL playoffs, we're wrapping wild card, we're talking divisional round, and like you know, we got best bets of the week to make you a little bit of that money coming up. And listen, first of all, let's take care of some business. We're In Crosshairs, presented by Line Sniper, your definitive resource for all things sports betting. And let me bring in my guy here. We're a little Allie Melendez. She'll be back next week. She's on a little bit of the ride, so we're doing another boys episode. And it's my guy here, Jay Mads. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. You know, last weekend was awesome, 6 games. Let's just keep that the way it has been. I had an awesome time sitting there doing absolutely nothing, watching football for basically 48 straight hours. We only have 4 this week, but, you know, there's some good matchups, so I'm excited to get into it and talk a little football and other sports.
No doubt. I mean, the Saturday-Sunday triple header, 1, 4, 8, if you're on the East Coast, a little earlier on your side of things, but I mean, that was truly legendary. I mean, the back-to-back nonstop action, some great games. So, no, that was as good as it gets. But before we get into too much NFL, we'll get to the NFL, but let's go with the here and now here for a little bit of NBA action to start us off. We got a little bit from full. There's some real games, and there's some legit action here in the association. Full slate, couple of premium matchups. Take me to wherever you're going. We got, we've probably discussed just 1 or 2 of them here, but give me what you got as far as in the association tonight, anything side or total-wise that's sticking out to you.
You know, it's really difficult to talk about the NBA prior to just about right at the tip with how many, guys that are sitting out, whole teams that are sitting out, games being canceled. You know, I grind a lot of the NBA DFS. That's kind of how I get my NBA action. And I don't even look at anything until about an hour before everything starts. But I will say that I am looking at a total here. It's ticked up a little bit. I do like a little over in the Heat Sixers game. I think you're going to get a couple more Sixers than what we had previously. So if that's the case, I think the over there will be a play that I have again. I grabbed a 209 earlier. I see it at 211 now. I played up to 212. Again, nothing too crazy, but again, when it comes to NBA, if you're trying to get the first of the number, I don't know what you're doing because there's no telling who the hell is going to be playing in these games. It's a very, very difficult sport to cap this week or this year, and it's going to be like that throughout the entire season, obviously. So as of right now, I'm looking at that over. I still think a 211 is a take, but that's the only thing that I have my eye on this, today. What about you, man?
No. I mean, the NBA has just totally turned into like information trading market. A little bit about, what we dealt with college football, where the info where you don't know who's playing on a night-to-night basis. Been a lot of just wild results as far, not totally correlated to the spread of the total. Just when you're getting, you don't know who's on the effort or who's back-to-back, or occasionally you get, you've had episodes where like 7 guys are active for a team. So yeah, it's if you're chasing or you're keeping an eye on these things, it's been a nice way to go. But yeah, hard for to get it in early or any of that and feel good about it. But I laid it with the Nets tonight. Obviously they've got the Kyrie situation going on, which is quite an interesting scenario in itself. But I had this a little short. I know a couple of sharp guys that were playing Brooklyn tonight. I think they've even been, you've seen it with the level where when Kyrie and that doesn't play, that they're able to kind of replicate still it being a good team. They were a good team before they signed him last year. And I still like Brooklyn. Even at -1, there's 115 on the money line. -1's pretty widely available. But see, now this is more of a, you said you're on the DFS. I'm in a little bit of the prop game. The sides and totals, very, very difficult, as we know in the NBA, especially as you said with some of the info. What do you got for me as far as a little prop action tonight? Any player prop or game prop you like that's sticking out?
Yeah, look at two. Embiid with a lot of the Sixers gone. He only played, I think, 23 minutes last night and absolutely filled the stat sheet. He would have went over every single thing you could have possibly grabbed. I like the same to be the case tonight against the Heat. He's going to have to get the ball. His usage is going to be, excuse me, absolutely through the roof. And then, if we want to wait until the evening time, again, you always want to wait until you can see some of these guys playing. But I like that Sabonis props to be over against Golden State. They really have no one that's going to be able to stop him. He'll take it right to Wiseman. He'll take it right to Green. And, assuming that he gets that usage, you can pick any of those Pacers. They should probably score 120, 130 points tonight on a weak Golden State defense. Look for a little bit of a shootout there, especially with total that high. But Sabonis in particular, I like that matchup against a small and relatively weak Warriors front court. He's the guy I have a lot of action on in DFS as of right now. So those are the two. We're looking at a couple big guys and a couple of overs for me anyway. It's in the prop game.
You heard it there first. If you want to cash the Millie Maker tonight or whatever big journey they got going on, load it up on some bonus and steal a little bit of it. I took some Harden under 3-point attempts here. Okay. There was a 3.5 under, like you could get it plus 100, minus 105. Been a little bit more of a distributor as late. The Lakers, can kind of been good with the defensive system in there, getting the ball out of his hands. Doesn't mean he won't score, but I thought at that price at 3.5, under 3.5 threes for Harden tonight, as kind of Houston, now that they've got more of a full complement. He's been still scoring at a high level, but definitely trying to ease the burden. Not those when you saw last year when he was going from 50, 60, when he had the scoring run, his scoring is definitely not, as he kind of tries to offload some of the regular season workload, and thought there was a little bit of value there on the under. But
I like it.
Now, we got our association talk in. Now it's time, you had our appetizer. Now it's time to get the full meal here as we dig into our divisional NFL weekend here. We got Rams at the Packers, 6.5, 45.5 on the total. We got Ravens at the Bills, lines around 1.5, 2, total 50, 51, depending on the place. We got Browns getting 10 at Kansas City. This total highest of the weekend has shot up. We're sitting around 56 right now. Bucks getting 3 at New Orleans. Probably what I would say is the premium matchup of the weekend there on Sunday afternoon. Total about 51. What do you got for me here as your early divisional look play that you already either submitted or already fired on, or the one that you're looking at early in these divisional matchups?
So I have two plays. I have one AFC, one NFC. In the NFC, let's just start there. Let's go that premier game that you mentioned. We got Tom versus Drew Brees. We're not going to be able to see these guys much more. It might be Drew Brees' swan song we might be watching right now. I like this game under. I grabbed the 52, did steam a little 51. It's fine up to 50. When you get these divisional games, these teams they understand each other. They've already played twice. Again, don't buy into that narrative that's hard to beat a team 3 times, because it's not. It's actually easier to beat a team 3 times. And you'll hear the pundits saying that all week, and they're absolutely full of shit. So, but again, I'm looking at the total here. I have a Tampa Bay team. Tom, he absolutely struggles with pressure up front. And we saw that last week, that the offense did not look great. Washington was able to slow him down with that 3-4-man pass rush. Saints will be able to do the exact same thing as we saw earlier in the year. And then, on the opposite side of the football, I'm not a big fan of the Saints offense. Obviously they have Kamara, who they had a difficult time even getting the ball to him in the first half last week. They did not look very good against a depleted Bears defense. You think you have two offenses here that are going to struggle to move the ball. Two offenses, the defenses on the other side do have familiarity. So I'm looking at an under 52. I think that's way too high for a game, especially, again, the third game where they understand each other's tendencies and whatnot. So that's my favorite play. And then I do Bills -2. They should be a full score, especially at home. This Ravens team, their offense is absolutely terrible. So I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything. I have absolutely no hope. You can only score 20 on the Titans defense, which is the worst defense of any playoff team. You're not going to be able to score on the Bills either. And the Bills are not going to be stopped. So those are my two plays. What are you looking at, buddy?
You know what? Number one. First of all, I'm going to want to agree with you. I love that total under. I thought, this opened up around 49 and a half. I thought that was about, now that you've crossed over to 51 and a half, 52, I am with you 100% on that under. Agree with everything you said there. And can see, obviously, the Tampa offense can be a little bit more electric than Trubisky. But this, I think this is now a couple points high. I'm like where you're at with that. For me, in the other one, now I'm, as far as maybe I have a little sprinkle on Ravens money line, but I squared it up with a teaser today of taking the Packers to a pick and the Ravens up to a +8. I think you'll see. I've loved this Buffalo Bills team from the start, as everybody knows. And you know, they've made a great run. I think this line's about right, but I really like, you know, if you can get Baltimore over a score there in the teaser, and then the Packers down to a pick. And the other one is, you know, I think this is, again, it's another total that's ticked up a little bit. I like it. You know, this was around 54.5. I liked it a lot at the open. It's now 57. I still think you're going to see 57s with the Browns Chiefs over. The Browns secondary is absolutely abysmal. The secondary that they threw out there against the Steelers last week. Steelers got down in a huge hole, couple of lucky deflections. And don't get me wrong, was on the Browns last week, enjoyed the performance, but you saw it in the second half there. It was way, way too easy for the Steelers to move the football. Browns don't have any of their, you know, number one corners healthy. The secondary really struggled, and now you're seeing the best quarterback ever in history, Patrick Mahomes, going up against with a full complement, and Andy Reid with a couple of weeks off. And I think the Browns can move it a little bit. They can run the ball. You know, you saw Mayfield. You know, now he's getting. He really, over the last, 6 weeks, there was a couple of, the game against the Jets where he didn't have the receivers, but really started to play, he reached that form that a lot of people thought he could reach. I thought he was very good last week, even against Pittsburgh, even, when the Steelers were really making that comeback. You saw Mayfield make some critical throws, and they kept throwing the ball. He didn't just go into a shell and start running. Mayfield was great at that, so I like this over. It's already ticked up a little bit, but I think you'll see it even go a little bit higher. As it's just, I don't think you'll see a ton of stops in this game.
No.
Give me what now? Listen, here we've got Browns. As far as who do we see moving to the now? You like to play as far as side and total, but just give me winners for the weekend. Who do you see conference championship game or early, like what you're seeing right now? If you had to pick one, give me who you think moves on and give me who you think's winning the Super Bowl.
I really think that Tom is going to be able to pull this off, and I'm certainly not going to be betting on him against a Saints team that has shown that they can absolutely blow it at home in a champion or in a divisional round. So I do like Tom to grab that. Even he's a small underdog, but I do like Tampa to come in there, and then it's going to be hard to bet against the Packers going in against whoever the hell is starting a quarterback for the Rams. I mean, Goff looked absolutely terrible. Their defense may single-handedly keep them in the game, but if the Packers can avoid the mistakes, there's no reason they shouldn't win by at least the cover the 6. I just worry about that defense maybe being able to keep them in it. On the other side, I like the chalk. Give me the Bills, give me the Chiefs. I want to see that matchup. I think the Bills are the only team that has the firepower to be able to stay with that Kansas City offense. So I think the chalk prevails in the AFC. Give me a little underdog and Tom in the NFC, and ultimately it's going to be Tom, and it's going to be Mahomes. So you're going to get a passing of the torch Super Bowl that I think the Chiefs would probably dominate, to be honest with you. But it's hard to bet against Mahomes. Like you said, the greatest of all time. He doesn't have the hardware yet, but he's got the skill set. So I think you're going to see maybe one of those the old school versus the new school, and it's not going to go well for Tampa. But again, that would be a great storyline as well. So I'm kind of rooting for that just for personal sake, sake of entertainment. What do you have? Who do you have?
No, I like it. I get it. If the Rams were healthier, I would think they were more live this week. But just some of the injuries, especially to the critical players that even if they play aren't going to be 100%. So, yeah, I'm with you as far as Green Bay being able to take it, out of the NFC. I just think they're, the defense has improved. And you've seen Rodgers playing, the best football of his career. The Bucs having some questions on defense. The Saints having some questions with their offense. I think Green Bay is right now the most complete team heading into the NFC, and they'll get there. And I'm not going to bet against Kansas City. I think they in the second half of the year, they really managed the year. When they had leads, they took it slow. And some people might have been overwhelmed by their performance, but I'm 100% not going to underestimate this Kansas City team because they were a little lackluster down the stretch where they didn't cover a lot of games. Some of their spreads were inflated, but I think they crank it up now just fine here, especially because they're by far the healthiest team of anybody left. They had very minor injuries throughout the year. They're able to get healthy. Now they've got a break. Now they've got the game planning with Andy Reid. So, yeah, I think this is it's a Chiefs for me, and hard to make a case against it as far as what they've got rolling into with this system. So, no. We've NFL is maybe our baby, but where you make the money is on the links, my man. So we had our first call real quick. What did you think of last week's Tournament of Champions here before we get into the Sony Open?
Man, JT three putting on 17 for a chance at a playoff, which let's be real, he probably comes out of that playoff considering what those two guys they bring to the nerves week in and week out. And then Joaquin Niemann is hanging out, having a good old time on the picnic table with Sergio while he should have been out there warming up, hitting golf balls and making a bogey on the par 5 18th to lose. That's kind of what you do when you're 21, 22. I guess I did a lot stupider things when I was 22, that's for sure. But it was interesting, it was fun, I enjoy it. But now we have a full field, so I'm more of a full field kind of guy.
Let me ask you this. Do you see, I heard some people chirping after the performance, any Niemann futures for any of the majors that you gobbled up? Did you look at it? I don't know as far as like where he would fit as far as Masters, US Open, or that, as far as courts fit or any of that, but have you looked into any Niemann early majors futures at some of the, the higher price before they kind of, if he's going to play at that level this year? Anything along their lines?
Yeah, you know what, Joey, I gobbled them all up. I released them all out as soon as he made that birdie putt. We went, and the thing is, you have to hunt for these things, man. Like, you can't just go to your local and try and grab a couple futures. You're not going to get good numbers. You have to look at all the books, all the options, all the outs. Grabbed 150 to 1 at the British, which is just absolutely insane. And then I grabbed an 80 at both the PGA and the US Open. He's going to go off in the 40s at all three of those golf tournaments, especially, with his arc. I like the young guys before they're household names, but, he's a winner on tour, 22 years old, has all the skill set necessary to be successful. So I grabbed him in everything, single major. He actually started my portfolio this year. So yeah, you're absolutely onto something there. And if they're still around,
what's your favorite one of the four? If you were only going to pick one, you thought he had the best chance to win.
The 150 to 1 the British, whether or not he has the best chance to win is irrelevant. It's 150 to 1 on the guy who's going to go off 40, and he has an absolute chance to win the British. He showed this week where he's a win player. He's always been a very good win player. He's got great ball control, low ball flight as well. That's just insane. That's an absolute insane number. I'm sure the limits are probably low, so you're not going to be able to get anything full, but at least grab it. It needs to be closer to 50 to 60 at this point, and it'll go off around 40.
I like it. All right, let's talk. We've talked a little futures action. Let's talk this week. What do you got? Any early outright looks, or who you're eyeing in a head-to-head, or who's on your radar for this week? Is at the Sony Open.
Yeah, Wall Hat Country Club, we'll just keep it real quick. This is a putting contest. It's a tournament that I don't really care about. I shouldn't say care about. I don't really care for. I care about it. I'll watch it, obviously. You have to finish in the top 5 in strokes gained putting to win. You have to finish in the top 10 in strokes gained putting to be successful here. So just knock out all the guys who can't do that right off the bat. What happens when you have tournaments like that is it turns into it's just really random. It's really difficult to try and figure out who's going to be the hot putter for the week. So, I like Sungjae Im a lot this week, but more importantly, I'm just going to be hammering head-to-head matchups with poor putters. So my favorite play of the week by far, Sungjae over Deki Matsuyama. Both played last week, so we have a small little 4-round sample to kind of judge them from. But most importantly, Deki, one of the worst putters maybe ever. He lost 10 strokes putting last week at the Tournament of Champions, which is really difficult to do for a PGA Tour player. Sungjae, top 10. Solid all-around game, which is what you need here. So when you're looking this week, look for those poor putters, hammer them in the full tournament head-to-heads. And if you want to take a week off of the outrights, I'm not going to blame you.
Hey, it's all right. I'll load up on my Niemann futures, baby. We'll take a week off the outrights and, let's see where I can find. I do agree with that. I love that. I saw you posted that British number. Had me hunting for as much as I could get on that. So, no, I agree. A little light week with the outrights this week, and then we'll load up going forward here once we get into some of the meat and potatoes tournaments.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
You got a best bet for me?
Yeah. Do I got a best bet for you? You damn right I got a best bet for you, but I'm not going to leave you hanging without a best bet here. As far as what I'm going to go way off the wagon tonight here. We're going to go to college basketball. Some college basketball guys I know. I'm not going to take credit as far as originating this, but some guys I know that I put in some orders for, they really liked this is going to see the premium mat, the Elkhorn State Grambling under tonight, under 141. Grambling, Elkhorn State, some great HBCUs. As far as I know, couldn't name a player on either team, but I know people who are sharp and make money doing this.
I don't even know where those schools are, for that matter.
I know they're somewhere in America, and I know you can bet under 141 here. So extra game tonight for some college basketball. The under in that, baby. What do you got for me as far as anything you got as far as the best bet?
You know, we could take it back to the golf course. We talked about Joaquin Niemann. He's going up against last year's champion in Cam Smith, who is going to get overplayed because people love course history. Here's what people don't understand: he won last year's tournament, and it played insanely different than it will this year. It was extremely tough conditions, rain, wind, which fits Cam Smith's game, because he is absolutely terrible at hitting his irons. He lost strokes on approach en route to that win, which is almost impossible to do. So we're going to flip it up, and where I'm going to absolutely fade him with Niemann, who's in complete form, and who's just he's a better player. You're getting even money on Niemann over Smith because of that course history. Take advantage of it, and that's my best bet for the full tournament head-to-head.
I like it a lot. Hey, baby, it's going to be a big weekend here. NFL Divisional, we'll get into it. And, next week here, we have the conference title game. So, hey, we gave you a little association. We gave you the NFL rep. We got my man James here, giving us some good stuff on the links. Hey, man, good show. Good talking to you here. And we'll wrap.
See you next week.
We'll be back next week with, we think, Ali Melendez once she's back on the rev here. And she'll be back. But listen, Line Sniper, In The Crosshairs, your definitive resource for all things sports betting. For my guy, J-Maz, Joey Knish 22. Love you, everybody out there. Appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next week for a little NFL Conference Championship action.